So the last section I want to highlight is this one. This is Appendix 5, and there's a series of appendix in here. This is the Auxiliary and Sealift Shipbuilding Plan. These are basically the reserve vessels. This appendix was thrown on one of these 30-year plans a few years ago by a staffer. I heard the whole story about this, and there really wasn't a lot of thought about it, but it has become a feature of it. So they talk about auxiliary vessels, which is really interesting, but what I want to go is the Sealift side. So this is the Sealift table, and let me be clear, I don't think this is extremely accurate for a variety of reasons. So for example, it shows currently 15 vessels in the pre-positioning role with a required inventory of 19. Okay, we're nowhere near that. As it states in here, the Marine Corps, the Maritime Pre-Positioning Force, which supports the Marine Corps, 5 of those ships, which are really old, have been basically withdrawn except for one of them from service, and one of the older LMSRs has been pulled out, so that you only have a handful of ships left out there working it. And even the Army pre-positioning has been reduced down to 5 roll-on, roll-off ships and 2 container ships. There's 2 Air Force container ships out there, so that's well below. But the thing I want to highlight down here is that last paragraph. Sealift surge vessels operate under MSC and the Maritime Administration. The FY 2025 surge fleet consists of 52 roll-on, roll-off vessels, including 7 used vessels procured in FY 2021 to 2024. Okay, I only know of 5 that have been procured, so we're missing 2 in that. And of the 5 that have been procured, 3 of them are great. They're 10 years old. They're beautiful ships. 2 of them are 25-year-old Korean-built roll-on, roll-off ships that were operated by a U.S. carrier under the Maritime Security Program, and those 2 ships, which had been U.S. flagged, cannot get reflagged, cannot become operational because of issues associated with them. This is a big problem. And then it says by the end of 2025, 3 of the cargo ships will transition from PREPO, this is the afloat pre-positioning reduced operating status, to MARAD's RRF fleet. And then 2 additional used RRF vessels will be procured in 2025, and we'll lose 2. I want to see the math on this. I really want to see the math on this, because I've done this, and I don't want to bore you with another chart here, but the math does not match up. And when you look at the fit-up they did for Sealift here, if you look at Surge Sealift in terms of procurement and conversion, first off, they upped the money quite a bit, because the last Sealift ships they bought cost between $90 to $110 million a piece, and that did not include conversion costs, so they were a lot pricier. They were actually more to buy than the Italian line that bought them paid 10 years ago. So we paid more for a used ship than the Italians bought for a new ship. I don't think that makes sense. And nowhere in here is a chart or a line that says, hey, let's build new Sealift ships here in the United States. We just don't see that. There's new construction down here. We see it, outside the fit-up starting in 2030. But let me tell you how this works. Next year, when the fit-up includes FY30, that number 1 down here that's showing you building 1 new ship here, that's going to be pushed back to 2038. Because this is what's happened over the past few years. That's exactly what's going to happen. So again, I come back to this. I just want to see the numbers on this. I don't understand the pre-positioning numbers right here, because I don't think we have yet to hear what the Marine Corps wants to do about pre-positioning. The Army is in kind of a holding pattern right now when it comes to that. So the entire concept of a float pre-positioning, which should be on everyone's mind because of what's happening with having to deploy from Virginia to Gaza a floating pier, that should be of interest. And then these roll-on, roll-off ships. One of the things that they mention in here is the requirement for square footage. So right here, the requirement for pre-positioning is 4.92 million square feet of cargo capacity and surge Sealift of 10.6 million square feet, so roughly 15 million square feet. The problem is I don't think those numbers are right in the categories they're at. I think we have less square footage afloat than we do. I think there may be more in the ro-ro capacity in the surge, but we are also losing the 5 ships we have brought on to the surge Sealift fleet. We have lost 7 ships in the meantime, and we're going to lose 2 more here very shortly, and we may lose more because they're really old. I mean, the average age of the Sealift fleet is 44, 45 years old. So we definitely need to do something, and there's no discussion in here at all about what's being done to help the U.S. Merchant Marine build. It shouldn't come out of the Navy budget, but there should be arguments in talking about increasing commercial shipping here at the same time, which is not present at all.